Welcome to JGTCR, I'm Cope, and today we are tuning the Audi TT Cup. Let's get into it. This Audi is a modern race car, so it handles quite well straight out of the box. It is also one of the most beginner-friendly race cars on GT7. Front-engine, front-wheel drive action never seemed so much fun. This is the type of vehicle you can absolutely wring the neck out of and not run into trouble. What it all comes down to is that it feels fast, but it's really not. This makes it extremely easy to drive quickly, as it has lots of grip and not too much power. The handling characteristics are great. It can be thrown into a corner with very little caution, as this Audi is very stable when attacking turns. The power is effective for what the vehicle seeks to achieve. There is only a small amount of wheel spin, mostly when exiting corners aggressively or being too harsh on the steering inputs. Fortunately, a 5 to 10% lift on the throttle is more than enough to rectify any wheel spin issues. And when it comes to braking, what brakes? Do we need brakes? We don't need brakes, do we? Yes, of course, we need brakes, but they are rarely needed. And when we do use them, they are more than capable of pulling up the vehicle before a turn. Let's jump ahead and collect our time. 7 minutes 13.2 seconds. And now it's tune time. For our race tune, we had to make some adjustments to deal with some understeer and torque steer issues. Our body height adjustment sees the nose being lower than the rear. And since the rear wheels are trailing and have no power going to them, the rear suspension has been made far more firm. The front suspension settings have been kept softer to allow the weight to shift over the front wheels comfortably and help reduce wheel spin while cornering. Our differential sees the initial torque maxed at 60, however acceleration and braking sensitivity have been kept relatively low. Again, this is in an effort to reduce wheel spin and torque steer. Let's see how it performs on the Nürburgring. We have all heard the term "mo money, mo problems," but when it comes to a completely modified Audi TT Cup, the saying becomes "mo power, mo torque steer." The TT Cup is definitely much faster, but wheel spin must be managed far more vigilantly. The power delivery has been dulled out somewhat with gearing, so it seems lazy. But this does help prevent wheel spin and torque steer / understeer. The handling is still great, that is of course until wheel spin rears its ugly head. And of course, throttle modulation is the key to maintaining speed without losing traction. When it comes to tight or complex turns, they are best tackled in a higher gear to prevent wheel spin. Since we have increased our pace considerably, brakes are now a factor. Fortunately, the brakes are extremely solid and have no problems pulling up the vehicle for the turns. However, if the road surface is uneven or bumpy, the tail end can get wriggly, believe it or not. Let's jump ahead and collect our time. 6 minutes 41.9 seconds. The Audi TT Cup is quite the fun vehicle. In factory trim, it feels like an updated version of a British Touring Car Championship vehicle. Not a lot of power, but definitely a lot of fun. It provides one of the most beginner-friendly platforms on GT7 and manages to still keep it interesting. When completely modified and tuned, the TT Cup gets more poke and increases the difficulty level. Not by a lot, but enough to make us have to step up our game, not only in throttle modulation, but also in braking and how we attack the turns. And that's all we have for you today, so until next time, keep racing!